Well, we're getting ready to start a new series where we're going through the Gospel of John. And so, before we start a series, I love to recommend resources that are related to that series. And the number one resource I'm going to recommend is the Exegetical Guide to the Greek New Testament on the Gospel of John by Murray Harris. You may know that I love this series, the Exegetical Guide to the Greek New Testament, published by B&H Academic. It's wonderful. It's basically a Greek exegesis course in paperback. So for each book of the New Testament. Now the series is not completed yet, but John is out, which is great for us. I will be looking at this regularly as I am recording the videos for the series. Murray Harris, you may know, is a retired professor from Trinity Evangelical Divinity School. And one thing I really like about him, I love his work on Christology. He's written a lot about the person of Christ. He's written a lot about Greek grammar, another EGGNT volume on Colossians and Philemon. He's written on preposition, a book on a monograph on prepositions and theology of the Greek New Testament. So he's a great scholar, but he's also a faithful Christian. He has, the most recent that I've heard, I don't know if there's more recent information, but the most recent I heard is that he stepped back from all scholarship and writing to care for his wife, who is in the final stages of a debilitating multiple sclerosis. So he's left academic work to just be a loving husband and care for his wife in New Zealand. And I think, wow, that's great. That's what a Christian scholar should be living out his faith in that way. The way these volumes work is they just go phrase by phrase through an entire book with especially focusing on grammatical comments and explanations, but also some exegesis and theology, as well as recommended bibliographies and even recommended sermon outlines based on the text. But I will mention the other series just briefly to inform our viewers in case somebody's joining us and not familiar with this. There's another great series published by Baylor University Press. It's the Baylor Handbook on the Greek New Testament. The Baylor Handbook on the Greek New Testament series. And it's very similar to the EGGNT series, and going phrase by phrase through each book of the New Testament, commenting especially on the Greek text. It doesn't have some of the features of the EGGNT, like the suggested sermon outline or the bibliography, but I find it also extremely helpful. It's a great series. And the volumes on John, there are 2 volumes on John, will be coming out in March of 2020. So I have not seen them. They will be done by a scholar at Baylor University, whom I do not know, by Lydia Novakovic. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Lydia Novakovic, and they're coming out at the end of March. So that will be, I'm sure that as soon as they come out, I'll get a couple of copies and be looking at those too as we continue working through the Gospel of John. And just to make you aware, if you're not already, of these 2 excellent series, the Baylor Handbook on the Greek New Testament series, and I have Matthew here because John is not out, and then the Exegetical Guide to the Greek New Testament series by B&H Academic.